Good evening. Welcome to the Theater of Public Policy. I'm Brian Jose of Fine Arts Programming at the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University. Welcome to all of you for our campus community and our general community. It's a very special night. I'm just thrilled that we have the Theater of Public Policy here, and this is the epitome to me of the excellence of a liberal arts education, where different departments come together and make an experience, a unique experience possible. So I want to thank our co-presenters tonight, which is the Eugene J. McCarthy Center for Public Policy and Civil Discourse, and my friend Matt Lindstrom. Let's give them a hand. Without their excellent support, this would never have happened. I also want to thank the Minnesota State Arts Board. Through the Cultural Arts and Heritage Fund, that's the legacy amendment we all pay into. They support all the work we do at Fine Arts Programming, and tonight's event is no exception. There's an intermission tonight, but after the show, I want to let you know there is a reception out in the lobby, which you are all invited to, of course. The McCarthy Center has kindly put on, and you'll have a chance to talk with our guests and with the Theater of Public Policy out there. I hope you'll join us for that. Our two special guests, you all know, Drs. Benedict and Hemeseth. I'd like to tell you a little bit about them. Dr. Benedict is completing her 10th year as president of the College of St. Benedict. She hails from Philadelphia, where she received her doctorate degree in cognitive and behavioral developmental and cognitive psychology from Temple University, where she also earned her bachelor's degree. And you know, this is our great loss. Dr. Benedict will be moving on to Drew University as its next president in July in Madison, New Jersey. She lives with her husband, Ron, in St. Joseph, and with their standard poodle, Whimsy. Dr. Hemeseth is the president of St. John's University, a graduate in 1981, and he is the first lay president of St. John's University. He was summa cum laude, degree in economics, and then went on to Harvard to earn his master's and doctorate degree at Harvard University. He lives in Collegeville with his wife Elizabeth and their son Cameron. I do not have a status on the pets. I want to opine for just a second. And I want us to really realize how cool it is. You know, I talk to people in my position all over the world at different colleges and universities. And the refrain is always the same. We don't know our provosts, and we really don't know our presidents. They don't really engage with what we do in the arts. And I really want to talk about how cool it is that our two presidents are willing to come out here and engage in an improv evening to talk with all of us. Yeah. That is nothing short of special, and I feel very blessed that they are willing to do this. It is really great. The Theater of Public Policy, who's here with us tonight, a unique idea. They take improv theater and combine it with big issues, with tackling big, possibly controversial issues, and using improv as a way to get to civil discourse. So, of course, with the McCarthy Center, Matt brought them to my attention. I thought, you know, this is a perfect way to highlight that melding of all the things we want to do on campus and connecting it to the arts. And I want you to know that the Theater of Public Policy has been very gracious. Perhaps you've had some engagement with them. They've been here for a couple of days. They've been in classes. They've been with the debate team. They've worked with the faculty and the staff. And to me, that's the holy grail, when we can bring the artists off the stage and into your experiences. Well, without further ado, I'd like to please bring to the stage Drs. Benedict and Hemeseth. And I jumped the gun a little bit. I also want to remind you to set your cell phones to stun and put them away, please. And now, please help me welcome to the stage the co-founder of the Theater of Public Policy, Tane Danger.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hi everybody. Hi. This is so cool. This is very exciting. Thank you all so much for coming out. This is very exciting. We're so excited to be here. My name's Tane Danger. I'm the co-founder of the Theater of Public Policy, and I'm your host for this evening. So, as Brian mentioned, what we like to do is talk to some really smart people about some big ideas and issues, and you guys can decide which one. And we like to talk to them, and then we have this team of amazing improvisers who takes everything that we talk about and brings it to life through completely unscripted improv theater. So everything they do is entirely based on whatever it is we talk about. So we'll see how that turns out. So without further ado, please help me in welcoming to the stage, one by one here, the cast of the Theater of Public Policy: Carmen O'Halloran, Jim Robinson, Logan Martin, Joshua Will, Brandon Boat. All right. That's going to fall. Problematic. All right. Hi. Thank you guys. It really is. We are really honored that you guys took time to talk to us. Thank you so much. This is not, we have performed and been part of a lot of college campus communities, and we have never really had the welcome that we have had here. You know, this whole Benedictine hospitality is serious business. It's very cool. And then we've never had college presidents join us on stage like this before. So thank you all very much for doing this. This is very cool that they're doing this, isn't it? Yeah.
You've never had college presidents before?
Oh, well, I was trying to make you feel better. We had one. But no, this is the only time we've ever had two. So that's cool.
And this is the only time that will ever happen.
Probably.
Actually.
This is the last. It's all downhill from here. So I'm going to open sort of with what might seem like a silly question, but I actually heard it from sort of a student earlier when we were walking around.
Sort of a student.
I sort of heard it from a student. I said to them, you know, what exactly, how do you talk about what the presidents actually do? And they said, I don't know, that would be a good question to ask them. And so I would just say, you know, help us, what is it that you guys do? What is your day job?
I'm waiting to hear this.
The advancement people will hate this. I've been told by Kim Oates to never use this line, but people say that what presidents do is they live in a big house and beg for money. But Marianne's got a bigger house, so maybe she should comment.
Clearly, we've already established that he's going to be the funny guy and I'm going to be the straight person.
Okay.
I believe
But
it.
you know,
guys get the comedy routine down.
We basically meet with people all day long. You know, they tell us who we're going to meet with, and then we meet with them, and hopefully that bears some relationship to what we actually do. You know, we talk with them, listen to them, decide, make decisions about our corporations. These are corporations.
Yeah, well, say more about that. So you all meet with folks throughout the day, and it was very exciting. I don't know if this was on purpose, but yesterday we were here, and yesterday was the day, in financial terms, metaphorically, that money from tuition would run out, and so the rest of the money for the year, in theory, would come from people donating and giving and events and things like that. And so I guess my question here is, what is the pitch, right? Like, what do you go to folks? Is it just a tin cup that you guys take and you jingle, or?
So no, I mean, it's called Tomorrow Made Possible, and what it means is it's to help students understand that, yes, your families are paying a huge amount of money and you have loans, but there are other people that are making this possible, and that started yesterday. So, you know, if you look at our whole budget, then all of the money that we spend from today on till the end of the year is made possible by donations. If we were running just on tuition, not just on tuition, but if tuition were our only source of income, and if
then classes would be over now.
That's it. And they're
all
like,
right,
okay,
go home,
let's go
everybody.
for that, right?
That's right. So commencement's this weekend.
But it's out of your own pocket. So, so when you go then to these folks, what is it how do you pitch St. John, St. Ben's? What's the line? Why so, I'm just asking you to sort of do your job, but for us, and be hilarious. Go.
That's yours.
Well, there are sort of two different groups we talk to. The main people we talk to are alumni and alumnae. And I think for them, the pitch is a pretty simple one. You benefited from this incredible education 10 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago. It's given you the chance to have a great life, to make contributions to your community. And you were able to do that because when you were a student, there were people who were helping support your education. Partly your families, of course, that's the biggest share of tuition, but the monastic community at both St. John's and St. Ben's provided support for these alums decades ago, and so what you're saying to them is, if you want to make this kind of education possible for the current generation of students, we need you to step up and help us with this.
And St. Ben's is celebrating 100 years, so we've been thinking a lot about what that means, that we've been around for 100 years. And so what we've been saying to donors is that the world needs more Bennies. And we're not saying we need more women at St. Ben's because we think we're the right size, but we're saying, what the women and the men who graduate from St. John's, the women of St. Ben's and the men of St. John's, they're of extreme worth to the world. And that if you commit to these two institutions, then you're actually changing the world. And that sounds lofty, but we think it's true.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm going to ask you to be even be more lofty, right? We have a lot of students here, and I'm curious because I think this comes up for folks a lot, especially when they're looking back. I have looked back at my own, and you sort of wonder, why did I go to this school versus another school or whatnot? And either you look at that, hopefully you look at that to some degree beforehand, but then even afterwards you think, why was my education maybe better or worse than somewhere else? And why is St. John, St. Ben's special, I guess is the question. Why is it, I'm going to ask, I was trying to be polite and be like, why is it better? That's kind of rude, but you would probably think it's better than most places. It'd be weird if you didn't.
Did you say that you were a Gusty, actually?
I wasn't going to bring that up. What are you trying to get me tarred and feathered here?
You're not a Tommy, so that's
something. I'm like Switzerland of the Mayak. I don't understand.
You're still Lutheran. I'm not sure that qualifies.
I know.
Hamlin might be Switzerland of the Mayak.
I've had this desire to nail things to your door the entire time I've been here.
And see,
Touché.
they understand that.
Well-educated
They
liberal
get it.
arts.
This is a liberal arts college.
That
Yes.
wouldn't work at Mac or Carleton. They wouldn't. What are you talking about?
I know, they wouldn't get it. What was the question again that I asked? It was what's special or what's different about St. John, St. Ben?
Well, one thing is that we're Benedictine institutions, and that's a way that we relate to each other, which you said you recognized when you came here. So we have values that transcend faith, even though they're rooted in a Christian tradition, but they transcend faith, and they help us agree about how we're going to, be with each other. And Bennies and Johnnies will say that's with them for their entire life. And it's with people like me. I wasn't a Benny. I am now because I have an honorary degree, but I didn't go to St. Ben's. But this will be with me for the rest of my life. And that, to me, is probably the thing that distinguishes us the very most.
Well, and you're being a little too polite. We're rooted in a Christian tradition. No, we're rooted in a Catholic tradition, the one true church. No offense to the Lutherans. just to be straight up about that.
You went there, huh?
So that's for my monastic friends out there.
I just feel like you've got this chip on your shoulder for being the first non-monastic president that you're required to say that.
You know what they say about being more Catholic than the Pope.
Catholics are Christians.
More Benedictine than the abbot.
Okay, fair. So one of the things that's come up for me in thinking, I did go to Gustavus, and this idea of having a men's school and a women's school is, I don't want to say it's antiquated, but it's something that we don't necessarily see very often anymore, right? We actually have two in Minnesota with St. Catherine's and St. Thomas, and then we have St. John's.
St. Thomas is co-ed.
Co-ed, sorry. Well. It's just St. Catherine's, so, but so why, I mean, it's just a question, if somebody, why? And everyone, it's obviously a co-ed crowd here, and everyone takes classes at both places, so why is it still two schools?
It is.
Go for it, Michael.
Are you on my board of trustees? I
Can
get
I
that
be?
question. How much can you give? We'll talk. Well, all right, so why are we two schools? I mean, we actually, that question comes up surprisingly often. But here's the answer. You know, we get the best of both worlds because we have this great coeducational academic experience. The academic piece is all one. We have a single provost and classes and majors, all that's co-ed, identical across genders. But we also have programming that's for women at St. Ben's, for men at St. John's. The separate campuses have created kind of community that is important. At a certain point in the evening, the women are supposed to go back to St. Ben's. And I know nothing about whether that's actually true, and I don't want to know. But the men stay at St. John's.
Was that true when you were here?
For me and my friends, alas, yes. Sadly. No, that's not permission to violate those curfews. No, but so when the women go home, they get to go back to St. Ben's and they have an experience with women. There's a kind of bonding camaraderie that's created. The same thing happens in the dorms for the men. They're all together and there's a certain kind of community that's created there. And that's not true at other places. You walk down the hall, you can't run down the hall naked at Gustavus because there are a bunch of women.
Yep.
Well, that would just be too much information, I think. That's not what they need to know.
And the residence halls smell differently, I understand.
Why are we getting so personal? This is very...
No, I think she's talking
I
about the
didn't mean
residence
them to
halls.
say
Oh,
this.
okay,
I meant
thank
than
you.
each other,
She's
yeah.
taking a slap at the Johnnies.
No, I didn't say which smelled better.
No, I think we know.
It's sandalwood and musk in St. John's. But what is would you agree with that about that answer about the?
Yeah, I basically agree, but since I'm the straight person, I'll get even more serious. Well, that too, actually, yes, I am. But no, I didn't mean in reference to my.
You're breaking a lot of ground here
No,
tonight. I didn't.
I thought she was straight all along, so I didn't know.
No, since I'm the serious person.
Okay.
I think it's more than that. I mean, I think that we live in a post-gender society. We think we live in a post-race society. We think we live in a post-economic different society, and we don't. And these are the one place, I think, in the country where students can think about that and maybe be more prepared. It looks like you're yawning.
No.
Okay.
I'm thinking. I'm not yawning. I'm thinking. I'm chewing on a question, but I'm trying to go ahead.
No, so I think that, our women and our men, when they're back throwing that football around or, watching Scandal in the res halls at
Wow,
St.
you picked the
Ben's,
most gendered examples I could think of.
they also think about, they can reflect on why it's different.
Yeah.
Like, why are there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men over
It's
there?
true. How is your comedy department here, by the way?
We have great improv students here. We do. We have different groups of students who are involved in this, but we have one group called Feed Our Starving
Attention-starved children.
Children. Feed Our Starving Children. You get it. They know who I was talking about. They're really good.
They're very yes. So let's. I want to talk more about this. So about this, what St. John St. Ben's prepares us for, because I do think this question about are we in a post-racial society or a post-gender society, and that's a very serious question. And so, how do you prepare people for thinking about that? That's a huge sort of and I'm sure you get 4 years, but I mean, it's not like here is the book to figure out society, unless you're a sociology major, where I hope they have that book.
Actually, it's an economics book.
It's an economics book. I mean, what is it actually how do you train that? How do you create that sort of thinking, I guess? How do you create the culture where people are thinking about that?
Well, here's one way, I think, so when I applied for this job, I met a bunch of students, and they said to me, if you come to St. John's, will you make sure that the men get to have some leadership roles in organizations on campus? And I thought, that's a strange question. And they said the women have all the leadership roles. So I asked the faculty, what's going on here? And the faculty said, well, the men are just so lazy, they don't sign up. The women will do it immediately. You ask for leaders and they step up. And then the men, 2 weeks later, wonder why there are no positions left. So at St. John's, you can have some organizations that are for men only, and they get to be in the leadership roles because the women will not outshine them.
Did you just argue an affirmative action post for men in some way?
Damn straight. People are worried about men and boys not doing as well in society. That's what we're here for. Okay. Johnnies?
That's very generous.
The world needs more Johnnies, too.
Yeah, that's good.
We need more Johnnies right here. We don't have enough.
Well, this is another question that folks asked about, was sort of thinking about the future of the institution. And I know, unfortunately, that you're moving to another. But, I mean, help us think about where does this institution kind of go from here? You know, you're celebrating 100 years right now, and it's very easy to sort of reflect back on 100 years. But what's the vision for the next 100 years or whatnot? You know, what changes or what stays the same?
I mean, my vision is for us to be the best damn liberal arts colleges in the country, and to be, thank you. Except for maybe one other one that happens to be out on the East Coast. I want that one to be pretty good too.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But
don't play this.
No,
there in New
seriously.
Jersey.
I mean, liberal arts education is it's under threat by society for reasons of ignorance, in my opinion, and we do that really well. We are very good at melding being a broadly educated person with being competent in the world and being articulate and being able to stand up to this kind of, you know, we're both liberal arts grads, you know, we can stand up to this kind of spontaneous conversation.
You stand up, you act like I'm like in Russia right now, like I'm...
This is not like your average, it's like being on
Interview.
Stephen Colbert or something like that.
Thank you, that's very generous, that's overly generous, but thank you.
You're good. But, you know, our students basically graduate after 4 years with the ability to pretty much navigate anything. And here at St. Ben's and St. John's, they can also navigate gender on top of all of those things. So we're unique, and we want to preserve that. And we want to do whatever we can to keep providing what we provide.
I want to, go ahead.
Were you asking about whether we would ever become a single institution? Was that what you were hinting at?
I was
Be
not.
co-ed?
Well, now I am.
No, the problem with that is if we did that, there would only be one president. And that would be a very bad policy.
Well, I was.
I mean, look at what you're getting
here.
here.
You brought it up. Why do we need both of you right now?
I will confess that is an excellent question.
All right,
Because,
moving on.
you know,
because
I mean,
so you could come here and now you'll be able to say, any other time you do this, I was actually at a place where there were 2 presidents once, and that was the best experience I ever had. So that's part of why we're here.
Okay, thank you.
and they have already hired another president at St. Ben's, so Michael is not going to be the only president.
Sure.
There's going to be 2.
Well, I mean, I think about, I have a theater company, and it's just, to me, it's like, well, what if we had a theater company and we decided to buy 2 separate theater buildings and have 2 separate artistic directors and then one troupe of performers who had to go back and forth between the 2, and they took a bus to get there.
Do you know any other liberal arts college that has 7 performing arts venues?
I don't know. I very rarely count my performance venues at liberal arts. It wasn't in the MIAC magazine this month. I mean, it is a serious. I mean, I'm sure it's a question that you all get very. I mean, it's an opportunity, I would think, to say what is it that having 2 folks leading these 2 different institutions that obviously are so close together. How does it work? What is your relationship actually like? You don't have to look at each other when you do it.
I'm waiting for Michael to explain.
It is very special. So, you know, it's not designed around it. They didn't design the schools just so we could have 2 presidents, so that's not a bad idea. It comes from this single gender piece at the 2 schools, and then it just so happens that she can talk to the female alumnae from St. Ben's, and I can talk to the guys from St. John's.
Although, not to contradict you, but St. Ben's has had a male president.
Didn't work out that well, though, did it?
Actually, no, he was great. He was great.
I'm kidding.
How many women
just
presidents
as well as
have
you
you guys had?
Well, come on, we got the late thing started just now, so give us a little time here. So,
Is it a benefit to have, do you bring different things to the institution?
As you can tell, we're remarkably the same, right?
I'm trying to help you make the case for your jobs right now. Help me out here.
Well, no, okay, I will say one thing. It's always true, or it has always been true, that the presidents of St. Ben's and St. John's didn't start their jobs at the same time. So when I came to St. Ben's, there was a very long-serving president of St. John's, and he knew the ropes, and there was there's a steady hand on the tiller in that regard. And institutions don't have that luxury. And I don't know if Michael felt that way about me, but I was the long-serving president when Michael arrived. So there's a continuity that gets preserved even when there's change. And that's not true at Gustavus, who's getting a new president this year. They don't have an old president longer serving president to be there and sort of show them the ropes or be able to maintain continuity.
Sure. Before we turn it over to the improvisers, I did want to get to one other thing you all started to talk about, was the value of a liberal arts education, right? Our entire cast were liberal arts trained, right? I'm correct in that, yeah? And yes, and so we're biased towards it, but I feel often, right, it gets knocked and it gets a hard time here and there. And I'm originally, I'm really going to make the audience mad. I'm originally from Florida, and thank you. And in Florida,
We're a global institution.
There you go.
We appreciate that.
Our governor, the governor of Florida, proposed a couple years ago, right, this idea, the state should only subsidize degrees that have practical value, so, economics or STEM-related things. And if you want to study sociology or anthropology, then you can go do that on your own dime. And obviously, liberal arts folks were up in arms and very upset, but then, I agreed with them, but I was like, I don't know if we always tell our story very well of why liberal arts is as valuable as it
Well,
should.
first of all, liberal arts grads earn more over their lifetime than grads of other institutions, and that's demonstrable. There's data that show it. And I don't believe I'm going to say this in front of a large room, but St. John's University is the institution, Benny's do pretty well too, but St. John's University is the institution in Minnesota where the grads earn the most. That's not our metric. That's not how we judge the success of our education, but it certainly flies in the face of the notion that liberal arts graduates can't have an economically secure life. The data show that it's just not true.
And why are they important, though, to society?
They end up serving in leadership roles because they've got a flexibility and a ability over the course of a career to adjust to new and changing opportunities. They don't have a job when they first graduate that they stay in for 20, 30, 40 years. They do a whole range of things. So that kind of flexibility is important for society as the economic environment changes over the course of a lifetime. Improv may disappear a year or two from now, and
What?
you might.
Do you know something that I don't know?
Sure. Well, I studied economics, so I might. No offense. He was a very good communications major at Gustavus. So there's that kind of flexibility.
And I'm not starving to death.
No, but you still get that check from your parents. I think that's a little bit unnecessary.
I wish. So anyway, you were saying.
And then there's another piece to the liberal arts. I think just that there's a benefit. The economic piece matters a lot. I'm an economist, of course. I care about how our students do when they graduate. And Marianne's very generous to note that St. John's has the highest rate of return on its an undergraduate education, though it's tainted by gender complications, which
And
we won't
tainted
go into
by
right
the
now.
survey, which isn't really good, but still.
Okay. Now you've undercut that nice compliment you
No,
gave
but
us,
it's-
but that's okay.
But
I
even,
hear you.
even if the survey's bad, it's equally bad for all institutions. So
It's
relatively
true.
speaking, I
So
think
we have
it's
some
true.
crappy data that proves you're great.
I don't think a communications major should be commenting about data at all, frankly. But let's forget the economic argument. There's a benefit here, and this is, you all are living this out, of having a broad-based education so that you can enjoy and appreciate a wide range of things in life. Others can do that as well, but certainly if the education works well at a liberal arts institution, you have an appreciation for literature, philosophy, theology, the STEM areas that you wouldn't necessarily have if you had a more narrowly focused education, which happens at a lot of places that are a little more vocationally focused.
Well, on that note, please, a big round of applause for our guests here, your presidents. Very good, very good. So yes, please, by all means, thank you. Yes, thank you. So we're going to bring them back in the second half of the show, and they're going to answer all of your questions. So we're going to open it up to you all. But before we do that, let's turn it over to the cast of the Theater of Public Policy. So, as I said at the top, everything they do is entirely made up and based on whatever we just talked about. So, without further ado, please, a big round of applause for the Theater of Public Policy.
Jacob, come here. I couldn't be more proud of you.
Thanks,
Your
Dad.
first day. I mean, look around you. You see the trees, you see the lake. I went
There's
here.
no girls.
Well, not now, but there will be. Listen. Close your eyes, okay? Okay? Can you hear the lake?
I hear the lake.
Can you hear the wind going through the trees?
I hear the wind.
Can you smell that?
Smells like bread.
No? Smell again, son.
Musky hallways.
Yes, that's what I miss. The dorm rooms smell. What else do you smell coming from the dorm rooms?
I smell a father and son embrace.
If you want the girls to come.
That's right.
Okay.
This is so exciting. We're home from our honeymoon. A Johnny, a Benny. We're going to start our lives together. I'm going to get on the bus and go back to my own house. Thank you so much. I miss you.
Sir, I need some guidance counseling. I'm having a real
Well,
problem
then
right
please
now.
take a seat, or I'll take a seat. You keep pacing.
Okay, so tomorrow made possible started yesterday.
That's true.
Okay? I really don't know what today means.
We're in the gap right now.
Okay.
Tomorrow is still possible.
But
and
tomorrow started yesterday, so that means that's today.
You're not a liberal arts major, are you? I want you to think about cosmology.
That's the
Where did you didn't go to St. John's?
No, I'm sorry. Listen.
What is going on?
I went out with the St. Thomas girl for 6 months. I'm confused. I can't think of anything but like cars and jeggings and.
Time is a construct, a social construct. Everything is a social construct. Everything. Everything you know is relative or not.
So the girl that I was seeing, I'm related to.
Let's hope not.
So, you think you can be a college president, huh?
Yes. I'll be the best college president ever. My standard poodle will lead me.
Well, Mabs, you think you can live in a big house?
Yes.
You think you can ask for money?
I'll beg.
All right,
I'll beg strongly, though.
let's see what you got. Interview started. Alumni, come here. Started a Fortune 500 company. That's his wife.
Gender is a social construct.
I like these guys.
Make your pitch. We need funding. Tuition stopped today.
We have 7 performing arts venues.
6 too many.
No!
We'd like one of them named after us,
Yes.
please.
Either that or kill one of the presidents.
Well, your names together are potty trash, so the potty trash Performance Arts Center won't work, so we are going to have to kill one of the presidents. So I'm thinking Thunderdome?
Thunderdome. The Thunderdome Arena. There could be dance, and improv.
2 come in, 1 come out. Do it.
What do you guys think?
To the Thunderdome Arena!
God. Listen, I'm a Johnny, and I'm kind of used to having the women take charge. So have at it, okay? spank me or something, please. Jenny? Jenny, I'm really excited for you to meet my dad, but I need you to know something. Up here we have something called Benedictine hospitality, but it's also mixed with a little Minnesota nice. And so he can be a little confusing sometimes.
Okay.
Okay, but just, look him in the eye, don't make any sudden movements, and we'll be okay.
Okay, Johnny.
Okay. Hey, Dad.
Ah, the new girlfriend.
Hi.
Delightful to see you. Oh, I'm sure we can find something better for you to wear.
But I.
Dad, this is Jenny. This is who I told you about.
Yes, the girlfriend.
Yes, she's actually a theater major, but she's minoring in music composition.
I am.
Well, congratulations. I mean, it'll take a few years, and then when that doesn't work, you can find something better to do.
Dad, I can't keep living like this. I just want you to be positive.
Ding! The muffins are ready.
Well, I like muffins. I mean, I don't know. This could work out, Johnny. He's only one of the best.
I spent a summer with the monks, learning to bake bread. It wasn't sweet enough, so I added my own little flair.
Oh, is that maple syrup?
Is.
Oh, man. These are some really good muffins, honey.
Tell him.
These are some very good muffins.
Thank you. Try one first.
They're great.
Tell him what you think, Jenny.
They taste like chalk.
All right, Jenny, be honest. That's my son. And if you're going to live across campus from him, well, I need to know a few things.
All right, sir.
He's weak. He's a follower. He always has been. Can you lead him?
I can lead him. I can, sir.
I wanted to sign up, but she signed up first.
Because I don't want my son to live in a household with two presidents. We just need one.
Is that why Mom's never around?
She is around often as she needs to be.
We're out after curfew.
Don't worry, I was at this thing and the president totally blew it. He said it's cool. It's cool.
That is so great.
Right.
I wish that there was a girl around. Because it seems to defeat the purpose to be on the other side of 94 with just the two of us.
Well, let's put out our musk and see it.
Yeah, I brought my t-shirt.
We are men. A woman approaches.
Don't leave me by myself. Wait, where's the post-gender handbook?
It's the bar chart. It shows income equality judged against years of service over the top of hair length. It's an equation.
I'm an English major. Tell me what it says.
She's gonna be richer than you. Just talk to her.
Oh. Hi.
Hi.
I like your Mongolian barbecue.
Well, we're kind of looking for something a little non-monastic.
I can be non-monastic.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
That's a double entendre.
I took Spanish.
No me digas.
Gracias.
De nada.
Tú es mi amigo.
Enough with me. Talk to her.
Sí. Es mejor.
No, not mejor.
No.
Okay.
That is a double entendre that you
Lo
did not need to
siento.
make. Here we go.
Maybe we should hang out alone.
No, entiendo.
Okay, well,
It's
listen.
okay.
Thanks. Apparently, we can come here anytime we want now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Right, and I should let you know this as well. I'm neither Catholic, nor Benedictine.
Oh my.
I know,
Why are you wearing that hood?
because it keeps my ears warm.
No, he's lying. It's a yarmulke.
Yeah, I'm Jewish.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. I'm very proud of that.
I'm from Iran. I'm Muslim.
Well,
That presents a whole different problem.
I know.
know.
Yes, come in.
Hi, I'm collecting for our school.
Kind of school. You don't look like someone I recognize.
No, we happen to see that you're an alumni here.
Yes,
Well,
I
there,
am.
because I'm no longer there, I'm here. And I just want you to put money in this cup.
From St. John's. I sent them a check a week ago.
I know, but you know, it's kind of we wanted to have that personable, face-to-face guilt.
Oh,
We are Catholic.
come in.
Thank you. You know, you got a big house.
Yeah, well, I aspire to be a college president someday, and I know you have to start small, and well, you know, this is a starter home.
Can I have some money?
Oh, you could be a president someday too.
That's what I'm aiming for right now. I just live in a one-bedroom apartment.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I sent them that check. Why should I send more?
Listen,
In that week's time, I've heard some very unsettling things about what goes on up there.
Listen, the future started yesterday, but today they told me to seize. But that was also yesterday.
Yes?
And I'm supposed to look forward to tomorrow, and I can't go back until this cup is filled. And winter just doesn't end. It's really it's hard being outside. It's Can I stay here?
Stay in my big house?
Well, yeah, it's big. It doesn't smell musky, and not DVDs lying all over the place.
Sir, the lobster stuffed tacos are ready.
Ah, excellent.
There's more than enough for one. You are so lonely lately.
I am, and I have been wanting an uneducated ward to come live with me and not really contribute to anything since his liberal arts education is only halfway finished. Are you sophomore, junior?
I'm my third year sophomore.
Tell the lobster taco.
Don't tease him.
Lobster taco.
Well, I'm going to eat them. That's all right.
If there's any left over, can I put it in a Tupperware container and sneak it out? Would that be okay?
Nice.
So you want to be a philosopher?
I want to be a philosophy major.
Well, you
First.
know that philosophy majors make the most money of anybody. That's true, if they go to St. John's. The philosophy majors at St. Thomas are working at Starbucks.
Now, I was talking to a valued source who claimed that research was flawed and useless. Is that true?
It's flawed but useful.
Fair enough.
That's different.
Fair enough.
Different.
My favorite philosopher is Immanuel Kant. Can you explain some of his philosophies to me?
I'd like to, but I think that my lobster bisque is about to boil over.
Of course.
You know what? I should just come clean with you. I was an econ major. I'm a college president now. Come on. It's not that bad.
When can we have a college president that's not from the STEM world? You know, when can we have just a plain old, somebody? Just a guy that used to sling tacos. You know, that's the kind of guy I can relate with.
Hey, I'm that somebody.
This is my guy, huh?
Son, what are you doing here?
Yes, I'll give this guy as much money as I want.
I was in the neighborhood slinging some tacos.
Yeah.
Come by.
He speaks unintelligibly and his shirt is stained. He screams college president.
Fine. Take it.
I'm somebody that people can relate to.
That's right.
I'm not in some ivory tower. I'm down with the people, serving the tacos.
Hey, all right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. We're going to take a 10-minute intermission. So 10 minutes, we're going to take an intermission, then we'll welcome back our two guests and open it up for you all to ask them questions. So please, come on back in 10 minutes and we will chat with them and then see some more of the Theater of Public Policy. we're going to bring back on everyone, and we're going to open it up for you all. So quickly, help me in welcoming back to the stage the Theater of Public Policy cast. And then a big round of applause for your presidents, President Hammerslath and Benedict. Oh, here, I stole your microphone. Here you go. Sorry about that. So this is the part of the show. This is the part of the show where we're going to turn it over to you all to ask questions. And we have, as I'm told, microphones on we have audience question microphones on the side of the stage. But what we like to do with our show is actually give you a chance to practice. So what we would practice your questions. So if you would turn to the person next to you and ask them a question that you would like to ask of one of the two presidents or both of them, you'll have a chance to get a little rehearsal and maybe make a friend. All right, ready, set, go. I don't know. We were talking about that. If they do it. Yeah. All right. Okay, so if you have a question, we'll just need you to come to one of the microphones on either side of the stage. So they are wide open, which has me worried. Please, anyone, just make your way on over to the microphone if you have a question for either of these folks or both of them, and be brave, because otherwise I'll ask a bunch more questions, and we all saw how that went. Yes. Okay, right there. And we can line some folks up, so you can line up, and if you want to go line up on that mic, that's great too. So yes, and then tell us who you are if you don't mind.
Hi, I'm Katie. That's who I am. And hi. So earlier you said more Bennies are involved in leadership roles, but Johnnies make more. And I'm confused because I feel like those should be matching up.
Oh, interesting.
So can you sort of explain why it's not matching up? Why do the less involved Johnnies make more money?
It's exactly why we're not a post-gendered society. You know, that doesn't have anything to do with St. Ben's and St. John's, although I don't, I think St. John's men deserve to make a lot of money, so I'm not suggesting that they don't, and he does too, because then they get the donations. But it's not about us. It's about what society pays women. If society only pays, if the corporate America only pays women 77 cents on the dollar, then it doesn't really matter whether you're a Benny or a Johnny. In that terms, you're going to make less. And that's one of the things that's flawed about the survey, too, because a lot of women in this country are choosing not to work outside the home more than men choose not to work outside the home. And those salaries don't enter into the equation. They don't have a literal economic salary value in our country. So it has more to do with what's going on outside than what's going on inside.
Yeah, isn't economics flawed? I mean,
Spoken by a communications major, just saying. So I'd have to give my economist card back, and my dissertation, my PhD would be taken away from me if I did not say that 77 cent statistic is completely bogus. I won't go into an economics lecture right now, I promise. But I have another hypothesis for what's going on. As you know, lots of Bennies marry Johnnies, and I think what happens is that the Johnnies who really haven't figured out how to kind of get their act together by the time they graduate, they marry a Benny. Benny helps get them straightened out. They go into the work world, they reach their full potential, and they make more money. And we benefit from that. Thank you very much, Bennies. 25%
of Bennies marry Johnnies, which is about the same statistic as Gustavus. There's no difference in the percentage of Bennies and Johnnies that marry each other. Now, what is kind of weird is we are two different institutions, and the notion that 25% of them would marry each other across institutions is pretty bizarre. But of men and women that go to college together, we're pretty much the same as everyone else. And I'm not an economist, but you can argue around that 70 cents 77 cents issue in many different
No, you can't.
directions. Yes, you can.
So then, side question, how
I mean, what Michael would say is that women choose different occupations that pay less. It has to do with their choice of major. It has to do with their choice of occupation. But there are many different ways that you can control for these things. And when you do control for these things, let's say
differential
reputable
disappears.
people disagree.
So then how are you, as the president of St. Ben's, preparing women to go into
And
a
by the way,
world-
that's not necessarily true in terms of what we make.
Touche.
So the question, the follow-up question there was just,
Follow-up question.
what do you do then as presidents to try and address this, to try and address the societal question?
That's a good question. Michael?
I encourage Johnny's to marry Benny's.
Well, that's one thing.
I see some happy couples out here where that's been true. There's some
No.
Johnnies I
Did
think be
you
living on
marry
the street
Benny?
without their spouse.
Did you marry Benny?
I didn't have that opportunity. I told you when I was here studying, I followed the curfew, which all of you should do as well. Don't listen to them. So no, I did not marry Benny, alas.
President, are there things that...
So to the extent that, some of what Michael says is true. It is true that women and men choose different occupations, and that accounts for some of the wage disparity in this country. But it's also true that within occupation, when men and women choose the same occupation and they have the same longevity, men on average make more. But one of the things we're trying to do, I think, at St. Ben's and St. John's is to have students pick what they are really best suited to do and what appeals to them most and what's their passion, and to try not to choose their occupations based on gender. And eventually that should help even that out, because there are men that may not necessarily choose an occupation because it's high paying, and there are women who might choose an occupation that it is. So we need to break that down. Once again, I'm playing the straight person here.
Okay, we've got a whole batch of
Thank
folks
you.
lined up, so I'm going to go to that side.
All right, it's on, sweet. All right, you talked earlier about how when there was a male president over at CSB, and I was just curious as to what you two believe would be the general reaction and what would transpire if there was a female president at St. John's. Thank you very much.
If it was Mary Ann, things would be so much better. We'd have so much more money. Johnny's would be happier. What can I say? It's not going to happen.
I'd
though,
be
'cause
working
Drew
on leadership
stole her.
opportunities for men, basically.
Do you think that is it fair? Like, would there be? I mean, there was obviously it was a move that you are non-monastic. So would that? I don't know. Would there be a backlash to having a female president?
Depends on how badly I screw things up in the next few years, I think. No, it's an interesting question because St. Thomas, as you know, has a new president who's in her first year, a woman named Julie Sullivan, very, very competent, good president. And some people thought that when St. Thomas hired her, they were just trying to one-up St. John's because they went from a priest to a layperson, but then they went beyond that and they hired a woman as well. So,
But St. Thomas has women students.
yeah, but still, it's
They
kind of
do.
a bold move. That's right. Did you know that?
Yeah, they do.
So-
yeah, I just learned that.
So I can't possibly speculate on what would happen if we had a woman at St. John's. I think my head would explode if that happened.
All right, I'm going to go back to this side.
Yes, my question is, what developments are you most proud of during your time here in your last 10 years, and what developments are you looking forward to in your tenure here? And if you could snap your fingers and make something change between the two campuses, what would that be?
For me, it's hands down, no question. The thing I'm most proud of is that we're more diverse institutions than we were 10 years ago, as far as the student body is concerned.
And I'd love to see that continue. More geographic diversity outside the upper Midwest, more international diversity, more economic diversity. Those would all be fabulous things.
And if you could snap your fingers and change one thing going forward, what would it?
$1 billion endowment.
Yep, same thing, same answer.
That would make your job very easy then going forward.
Hi. So sustainability has been a huge theme on both of the campuses lately, and personally I'm wondering when it becomes more smart to be cost effective as an institution or be sustainable as an institution. And from the sustainability, if it's more important to be teach students to be sustainable themselves, or I don't want to say force it, but to have a sustainable university instead.
Oh. That's a false dichotomy, or let's say it should be a false dichotomy. Sometimes people make foolish decisions and it's more costly to be sustainable. But over time, what sustainability means is that your model, it works and that it can withstand the test of time. So economic sustainability means that you operate a cost-effective institution. At St. Ben's, as we've become more sustainable, we've saved significantly more dollars. We have a sustainability director, and she by far has saved more than her salary over time. So I think you're right that sometimes making sustainable judgments can be more costly, but done well, they're much less costly.
I agree.
Okay. We'll come over to this side. We'll probably only have time for the questions that are here on the lines right now, but yes, so right over here on our right.
All right, I have a silly and a serious question. So first, President Benedict, I want to know, deep in my heart, if you know that by the student body your nickname is Mabs.
It doesn't surprise me because those are my initials, and it's not after a paint store. And I kind of like that. Actually, I just wrote a piece, like a feature piece, on initials and what they mean, and I can add this to it. So I assume it has to do with my initials, and it doesn't stand for something else.
It does, it does. So thanks for answering my serious question.
Did you just say it does?
So my second question is, sorry, I did my serious and silly one, but what is St. John St. Ben's doing to be welcoming to LGBT students?
You forced her to answer first every time here, so you go ahead.
I'm being polite.
I
and
get it,
Benedictine.
I get it.
He's a Johnny.
God, give me a break, man. So, I would like to think that we are welcoming to anyone that comes to St. Ben's or St. John's. And I think the Benedictine hospitality that we take very seriously here, as our guests have testified, it makes it clear that we should respect the dignity of all individuals, regardless of race, gender, religion, sexual orientation. And I hope we live that out. And when I was here as a student 35 years ago, that was, LGBT things were not really even on the radar. I mean, and I'm embarrassed to think of the kinds of jokes that I and my friends engaged in at the time. That world has changed completely now, I think. Now, are we where we need to be? Are we as good as we can be? No. But I think it's also important to remember that we have made a tremendous amount of progress, and I think the Benedictine tradition at St. Ben's and St. John's is a very important part of that.
Mm-hmm. And I would agree with Michael that things have changed. Things have changed since I've been here in 10 years. That being said, we like to think sometimes we live in a bubble, or we live in this sort of place where the world doesn't really encroach, and we like to hope that, as Michael said, all of our students feel comfortable and welcome here. But the reality of it is the outside world does encroach, and some of the members of this community still don't fully appreciate what it means to welcome all members of the community, despite the fact that that's our ideal. I think one of the things that we both do that one doesn't see in this community is the amount of times the external community would prefer that we aren't welcoming in that way. And I think that it's very important to us to express what Michael expressed about the values of our community to the outside, to continue to make this place more welcoming. I would also say, if there's something that we can do that we don't know, we need to know about it. And 10 years ago when I started at St. Ben's, there were many things that we could do to be more welcoming that we weren't doing, and students were gracious enough and faculty were gracious enough to help the institutions understand that. I have to say, in recent years, I haven't been told about what we can do to make us more welcoming. So if people in here know of anything, we would like to hear. It's kind of an inverse answer to your question, but.
Awesome.
But I would just say, this mayor makes a good point that's important. When you ask what we do as presidents, we tend to focus on raising money. That is important, but that's probably number two. Number one is answering letters from disgruntled alumni about issues as serious as this and as silly as we won't even say.
No, say.
Embarrass. And I had an alum recently write and complain that we provided too lavish a lifestyle at St. John's University. And I wrote back and I said, Mary Hall and Tommy Hall. Question mark.
Very good, very good.
He was probably talking about the Goretzky Center.
No, I think
And
you're
the-
right. And the
the
fancy new
Mongolian grill.
Centennial, Centennial Commons.
All right, this side. And I just want to point out, so in theory, this performance is supposed to be done at 9 o'clock, and I'm worried already that we're going to go over. So if we can keep these kind of as straightforward as possible.
Hi, I'm a first-year student here at CSBSGU, and I've heard a lot of talk about the value of first-year seminar as a class. After all, it covers subjects such as English and public speaking that many incoming students have already covered in AP and PSEO classes. What can either of you say to attest to the value of FYS, given that we're required to take 2 semesters of it and that it's often non-transferable to other institutions?
Oh, stop it. If you're liberal arts students, take it seriously. It's a good course. The notion that you've learned all you can about English and communication by the time you're a senior in high school, AP courses notwithstanding, you don't believe that, do you? You're not going to have all you know about economics or whatever your major is by the time you graduate. So the notion is we're helping you get stronger in those areas, and you're getting additional skills that you'll then take into other classes and into the workforce. That's why we think first-year seminars are a great experience.
Should we move on? Or
So the 5 faculty that teach it are clapping. Thank you.
You know, I would agree with that. I would say, and I hope that you all don't really judge the value of college courses about whether they're transferable or not. That is not to diminish how much they cost, but there's so much about what you get at these places that isn't credit bearing. And so I hope that you can try to break down the barriers between what you're paying for that has credit versus what you're not paying for that doesn't have credit, because you're paying for all of it. And it should teach you so much more than those things, and I hope it does. And specifically, it teaches you how to take a topic of interest and apply all of those things to it. So I hope that in the end you find it to be a valuable experience.
All right, this side.
All right, so this question is directed more at President Benninger, or Mabs as we call her, but President Hemeseth.
I learned this after 10 years. This is really great.
President Hemeseth, you're more than welcome to chime in, but as a woman who proudly identifies as strong-willed and opinionated and very vocal about my beliefs, how do you react when people refer to you as too assertive or bossy or, for lack of a better word, a bitch? How do you respond to that?
You know, fortunately, no one has done that to my face.
All kinds of things are happening tonight.
Although, no, I mean, let me remove it from St. Ben's and St. John's for a minute. I taught for a long time, and I love to teach, and I had really great teaching evaluations. I think there's still some artifactual ones on ratemyprofessor.com, although I don't know if I still survive on there in my administrative afterlife. But, you know, on teaching evaluations, students can say what they want, and on the East Coast, they're a lot less polite than they are out here. And I have been called on teaching evaluations a bitch. I have been called on teaching evaluations a bimbo, and I'm having trouble like putting these two things exactly together. And I've been called on teaching evaluations a dyke. And the reason I was called that is because people don't know how to handle assertive women. And they make all kinds of implications that they think are derogatory that aren't necessarily derogatory. It's more about the person who uses that language than it is the person that they're using the language against. And so I would say, you know, if people call me that, sticks and stones, I'm really proud, and I hope that, I don't want the women at St. Ben's to emulate me as individuals, but I want to provide the space for them to be as bossy and loud and aggressive as they want, as long as there's something of substance behind it. And as much as people might reflect on my bossiness. By the way, there's a whole kind of movement started by Sheryl Sandberg at Google to stop people from calling women bossy. But as long as people also think there's something of substance behind it, you know, oh well, because what's really important is what's the character behind that, you know, affects leadership.
Okay, very good.
For the St. Ben's president, I hear you're leaving for other opportunities, and I just want to know what kind of policy you're leaving at St. Ben's for the current housing issue when more and more upperclassmen are forced to live on campus when it doesn't make economic sense for them.
First of all, just to clarify your first point, I'm not leaving St. Ben's for other opportunities. I'm leaving St. Ben's to go back to the East Coast where my family is, and I'm not ready to stop my career. And why is that distinction important to me? Because St. Ben's and St. John's are very special places, and I wouldn't choose to leave them just to go somewhere else. But so I just wanted to clarify that. And the second half of your question was about the housing requirement. We instituted the 4-year residency, actually first at St. John's, 1 year before St. Ben's, for reasons that had to do with housing availability and things. And I think it's been about, well, you all would know, maybe 4 years at this point. Are the seniors under the housing requirement now? Yes? Yes. And we believe that it's the right thing to do for your education. And you have choices of where to go, and you can choose to go somewhere without a residency requirement. We believe it makes these communities richer, that it increases the retention, that it increases the academic engagement of students to stay on campus. You think at first glance, you think it's more economically feasible for you to live off campus, and perhaps as an individual it is. But if we had an open living, and this is kind of incidental to the real point of why we do this, but if we had an open living off-campus policy, it wouldn't be cheaper because we would have to raise your tuition because we have to support the facilities that we have. So to have empty residence hall facilities is not, on balance, the most economical thing for the institution to do, and that would kick back and have an impact on your tuition. While on an individual basis, it might be more economically, it might seem better as at an individual level. I'll let the economist speak to that point, but.
Well, I mean, I would agree with everything Marianne just said. I think that the main thing is there's a trade-off here. I mean, we recognize that some students want to live off campus. Our view is that the sense of community that's created by having a 4-year residency requirement is worth that imposition. We try to be upfront about this when you come to St. Ben's and St. John's, so by the time you get to be a senior, we hope it's not a surprise. But we think that...
What?
Well, for some people it is. But we really think that sense of community is important, and it ties back into our Benedictine history. There's an economic piece to this, but that's absolutely secondary. It's all about community and what we think about the quality of life for students on campus.
At St. Ben's, we get far more calls of complaints of students who want to live on campus and can't get into, because there's not enough space in the senior residence halls, than we do people who petition to get off campus and can't. So I'm not exactly sure how the actual data match up with individual people for whom this is a real issue as opposed to the community as a whole.
Okay, so it is 9 o'clock, and we're supposed to be done, and I want to get back to the cast of the Theater of Public Policy. So could we do, we just going to go back to them. But you guys are going to be at our cookie reception, right? That's a thing here.
Cookies?
Is it the cookie reception? Somebody told me that's what it's called. Yeah, so I just started a new thing. Cookie reception will be after this, and you both will be able to be there for a little while, and so you can answer these folks' questions, I hope.
Absolutely.
Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for... All right, yes, thank you. So, thank you, guys. So without further ado, we're going to turn it back over to the cast of the Theater of Public Policy. Please, big round of applause for them.
Mom,
Son,
I'm failing my class on being assertive.
son, look me in the eyes. Chin up. Assertive stance? No. Shoulders. Yeah. Oh, wobbly. Where's that backbone I instilled in you?
I just don't have it. I don't have any leadership, and I'm not bossy.
Mr. CEO, we've got to fire 1,000 people. Can you deliver a message to the masses?
I guess.
Okay, the microphone's ready.
Hey, everybody.
All right, congratulations to your father. I just need you to cut the umbilical cord now.
I don't know if I can do that.
You just have to pick up the scissors and cut.
Really? That's all?
That'd be great because I'm getting blood all over my hands.
Dad, I'm 17. Cut it off, please. Hi, there's a housing requirement, and I know I'm...
Whoa!
Well,
I've been here for 1,000 days. I had no idea.
Well, the weirder thing is I'm a 55-year-old alum, and I want to move back in. You go outside this bubble, and you have to pay for everything.
Listen, it's okay. Hold on a second. Man, he's got like some Pink Floyd posters and this Jethro Tull shirt. He doesn't know.
Okay,
No,
he's not. He's going to bust off all the ladies.
I know, if they could come here, but they don't come here at night. No. All right.
I don't know if you guys heard, but Christine McVie is joining Fleetwood Mac again.
Okay, I heard... I heard words, but they didn't make a sentence for me.
That's okay. Look, I'm willing to take the bottom bunk on the loft.
We could trade him our dorm for his off-campus house. It has a kitchen.
Yeah, but it had this thing with initials like a V and an S and an H, or VH. You stick things into it, and then it plays stuff back, kind of.
I have these really great speakers. They're 8 feet tall. And they plug right into the record player. No woofer or tweeter.
Do you have your own car?
Well, I do have a car. It's a sedan. It seats 8.
So you could take us from here down the highway.
Yeah, no bus, no bus!
Sure.
You're in!
Yeah!
Are you ready to get sustainable?
I am.
All right, we gotta cut a few things because we gotta make this place better than it was when we found it.
All cost effective.
So let's just take a look at the list. All right.
Plastic water bottles!
Plastic water bottles. We can't have those anymore. We're gonna have those little refill stations at the drinking fountain.
Free trees for everyone!
Oh, I don't think that chainsaw's electric.
I got 2 pizzas from the cafeteria.
Throw in the garbage!
All right, no throwing pizzas from the reef in the garbage. No cutting down trees.
No plastic bottles.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
We just saved the world. Just did our part.
Well, with that, I mean, we can pay ourselves.
That's right.
And you get $1, and I get $1?
75 cents.
You know how you were complaining about how we don't have it really good here? I was just over at St. Ben's. They don't have trays.
What?
In their cafeteria.
Then how do they sled down the hills?
And how do they overeat?
I should tell you, I'm not really a monk. I just wear this robe.
I understand.
Thank you.
I'm not really a monk either. I'm just chilly.
Good. You know, there's not a lot for monks to do outside of this school, as far as I know.
Well, there's always tray sledding, which is French for very sledding.
Oh. I took Spanish.
Jack, I finished the plans for the monorail. It's gonna cost $1 billion.
We just need to find one really rich contributor.
I have $1 billion. I'm willing to contribute.
Well, I can just snap my fingers.
Well, get out your bucket. He's got $1 billion ready.
Just write you a check. A lot of zeros.
Certainly. Oh, an extra comma. There you are.
I always miss those. All right.
Now, would you like it called anything? Your name on the monorail?
Yes. I would like it called Flaptastics, the train that goes okay. That's what my grandfather called his train when he played with them as a kid. And he said on his deathbed, son, you ever come into $1 billion and throw it away on a monorail? Name it after my train. And then he died.
He died mid-sentence?
Died mid-sentence. So there could have been more, but I don't know.
Tre.
Tre. I mean, it maybe meant French for very. I don't know.
I'm a disgruntled alum. This place is too welcoming. Look at all these people.
Yes, we're all so friendly, so welcoming. Yes, you are very disgruntled. Perhaps you should not donate.
I'm not gonna donate.
Perhaps you should keep your vast money for yourself.
I will. You're a wise troll.
Yes. I live in the forest.
The forest between St. Ben's and St. John's? I hear they're putting a monorail there. That's too lavish.
Ew, I should haunt it. I mean, Mary Hall is where I live, and Chammy Hall is also where I live, where I haunt them and make them smile. For you.
Look, if you think I'm gonna give you some money to keep doing this, you're right.
Thank you.
It's 77. Oh, it's wow. I don't know anything about trolls, apparently. I didn't know you could hate.
I've been stuck in middle management for about 15 years now.
We've all been there, haven't we?
I've been driving the same CRV since 1999.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man elected not to take first-year seminar.
I wanted to speak gooder, but I didn't need to because I finished that back in that school thing I went to.
He also didn't marry a Benny or a Johnny.
Weak-willed, independent, drives a sedan. I don't know what kind of monster could be worse than that.
I'm from St. Thomas. You know, I'm so confused. I got my evaluation from my students. They called me a bimbo.
Me too!
God.
I wore too many pastels this semester.
I was wearing espadrilles, which are women's shoes in French.
Sounds très bien.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know what to do. I mean,
Dr. Robinson, you need to lean in. I just read this book. It's delightful. It's by a lady from Facebook.
Oh, I've heard of the Facebook.
Yes. See, so what she's trying to do is outlaw the word bossy for us men.
Well, I've hardly been bossy. I'm a bimbo.
Perhaps you're taking it too much to heart. Perhaps you need to lean in more. And be bossier. Do the reverse Sandberg.
Terrible. Your class is awful. You signed too much homework.
well, you're mean. You don't have to turn in your paper. Oh, that's not what I meant to say.
What would Sheryl Sandberg say?
Turn it in and footnote it. On my desk, APA style. The comma goes inside between the name of the author and the date, and the period is after the parentheses. Want it? It's not that hard!
What a bitch. It's okay, college is hard for everybody. But you just gotta pick yourself up when it gets too complicated. You'll do it.
You're having a tough time? Why don't you just lean in a bit?
I can't do it.
You can't.
I can't do it anymore.
What out of the four of us is going to marry a Benny?
It won't be me. I'm LGBT. And I'm glad I'm here.
I could have married a Benny, but I didn't have the wherewithal to go out after dark.
Not at all. And you, why didn't you marry us? All of us at once in a mass ceremony that is weird. Oh, why, sir?
I looked for true love, and I did not find it amongst these 6-mile radius long 90.
Didn't you ride the bus?
I walked. Why did I walk? I forgot about the link. Boy, didn't I stink.
I'd marry you, and we'd have a lot of laughs.
What?
But eventually we both get frustrated.
Very much.
So let's just be friends.
I like that, Hutch.
Thanks. You?
My name is Mary like everybody.
I think we found the one for you. It's him.
Hey!
Gonna marry Benny!
I have a white shirt on.
Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. This has been fantastic. Can we do another huge round of applause for your president, Mark Thank you all so much for coming out tonight and being a part of this. We're the Theater of Public Policy. Please find us on the Facebook and the Twitter and anywhere else. Did you all have a good time tonight? Woo! Oh, and I can't stop without saying thank you so much to the people who made this happen. A big round of applause for both the Fine Arts Programming and the McCarthy Center for Public Affairs for bringing us. And with that, we have been
Jim Robinson.
Brandon Boats.
Carmen O'Halloran.
Logan Martin.
Joshua Will.
My name's Kane Danger.
Dennis Hurley.